You know, I've known for quite some time that Republicans will come out and talk a big game, but they don't necessarily care much for their constituents at all. And I think that becomes really clear when you take a look at the legislation they try to pass. You can take a look at the priorities they try to pursue. And it's just really sad that they've convinced so many in our society that they're the ones who are actually looking out for the little guy. But in reality, they're looking out for them and their wealthy buddies. And every once in a while, you will get a Republican who comes out and puts their foot in their mouth so spectacularly that it just becomes a perfect representation of just how little they care about your average American. And the latest person to do this was Iowa Senator Joni Ernst, where she was trying to defend her position on these Medicaid cuts that exist in this budget bill, and it did not go particularly well. So let's go ahead and take a look at what she had to say, and then I want to show you an even more absurd apology video. If you guys do appreciate my work, please do remember to subscribe.
So when you are arguing about illegals that are receiving Medicaid benefits, 1.4 million, 1.4, they are not eligible. So they will be coming off. So people are not, well, we all are going to die. So for heaven's sakes, folks. Okay, no, but what you don't want to do is listen to me when I say that we are going to focus on those that are most vulnerable.
So if you guys didn't catch it there, they're talking about the budget bill and how it's going to throw millions of people off of their Medicaid, and somebody shouts out from the crowd, they say, people are going to die. If you throw all of these people off of Medicaid, people are going to die. And what does Joni Ernst say? Oh, no worries, guys. We're all going to die. We're all going to die. This shouldn't be a concern to you because, of course, we only have a limited time on this earth. We're all going to die. I mean, could you be more callous to one of your constituents? People are legitimately fearful right now that they are going to lose their health coverage. The Republicans are cutting, what, between $700 and $800 billion off of Medicaid, which is going to throw 8.6 million people off of their health insurance. And then they're doing it under this guise of all of this waste, fraud, and abuse, saying that there's all of these illegal immigrants, there's all these able-bodied workers who are just exploiting the system. I mean, they never provide any evidence that is actually the case. But this bill will throw millions of people off of their health care, nevertheless. That is what this bill is going to do. And instead of addressing her constituents' concerns in a reasonable, compassionate way, she says, don't worry, guys, we're all going to die. Now, you might expect when a politician makes such an absurd statement that gets under the skin of so many people, even her own constituents, she might, try to walk that back a little bit. Maybe she would come out and issue some sort of an apology to kind of smooth over that situation, which is exactly what Joni Ernst did. Now, I want you to watch this video, and I want everybody to notice that she is standing in a cemetery while she is issuing this apology. Brace yourself. It is wild.
Hello, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely apologize for a statement that I made yesterday at my town hall. I was in the process of answering a question that had been asked by an audience member when a woman who was extremely distraught screamed out from the back corner of the auditorium, "People are going to die." And I made an incorrect assumption that everyone in the auditorium understood that, yes, we are all going to perish from this earth. So I apologize. And I'm really, really glad that I did not have to bring up the subject of the tooth fairy as well. But for those that would like to see eternal and everlasting life, I encourage you to embrace my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
What is wrong with these people? She's walking through a cemetery. She's supposedly apologizing because she made some insensitive statements during her own town hall saying that people are going to die anyways, so these Medicaid cuts don't really matter. And what does she come out and say? She makes fun of her constituents who are actually concerned about people losing their health care. Oh, I didn't realize that not everybody in the room didn't realize that we are actually all going to perish from this earth. Are you fucking kidding me? This is a senator who represents, what, probably millions of people, and she's going to respond like this in a sarcastic, morbid type way when people, her own constituents, have very real concerns that they might die a little bit sooner because they do not have access to the health care that they need. That is what is going on here. She's making fun of these people. Then she brings up the tooth fairy, like that is supposed to have anything to do with it. Oh, I guess if they didn't know that everybody dies, well, then I guess they didn't know that the tooth fairy, well, it's not real either. But then to make matters even worse, she says if you want to have everlasting life, Jesus Christ, baby, Jesus Christ. I want you to embrace my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. These people are sick. People are very rightly concerned that they could lose their health insurance, or that somebody that they love might lose their health insurance. Somebody who is disabled might lose their health insurance. Somebody who is taking care of a disabled person might lose their health insurance because of the cuts that this Republican Party is currently making to Medicaid. All while lying to your face, trying to say that it's all of these undocumented immigrants who are stealing and leeching off the system. All while lying to your face, saying that it's actually these able-bodied males who are sitting in their mom's basement playing video games, because those are the guys who I know are really motivated to go out and take care of their bodies. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. It's all those guys who are defrauding the system, and that's why we're making these giant cuts to our Medicaid system that is going to kick millions of people off. These people are sick. Now, you might expect that you would learn her lesson because she did receive quite a bit of backlash from that apology, the so-called apology video. But no, she didn't. Here she is tripling down on that very morbid statement that she made.
Hours later, Senator Ernst explaining her comments at a stop at Davenport Guns and Shooting Club.
I'm probably not wrong there. I have yet to be disputed that we are all going to meet our maker.
But also saying lawmakers aren't taking Medicaid away from those legally eligible.
We know there are a lot of people that are currently on Medicaid rolls that are not eligible for Medicaid. So in order to protect those dollars for those that are truly vulnerable, we need to make sure that we're taking the fraudsters off of the rolls. Okay, that's just common sense.
You know, it is common sense to want to make sure that we have systems that are running efficiently. We want to make sure that we can get the fraud down to as little as possible. But the problem with what these people are saying is that they have provided no evidence that there is these millions of people who are supposedly leeching off the system. That is the problem we have here. You are imposing stricter work requirements. You're going to kick people off in that way. The cuts themselves, the $800 billion worth of actual cuts to the program, that's going to cut 8.6 million people off the program, even though their math just doesn't make sense. They try to say that there's like 1 to 1.4 million undocumented immigrants who are supposedly leeching off the system, but so we're going to cut 800 billion and kick 8.6 million people off the system just to make sure that we got everybody. It makes no sense, people. People who are eligible for the program, who have paid into these systems, are going to be kicked off and lose their health insurance, all because the Republican Party wanted to lie to you, saying that they are cutting it for X, Y, and Z reason. That is what is going on here. That is what is actually going on here. And then you have Joni Ernst coming out here and saying, don't worry about it, guys. Everybody dies. And somebody posted on Twitter, I think the perfect meme to caption this moment. Do you guys remember Lord Farquaad from Shrek? Some of you may die, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to make. It's just so perfect. It's just so perfect. That is essentially what Joni Ernst is telling you. Yeah, we might be kicking some people off. But no big deal, guys. Everybody dies. That's something I'm willing to risk. That's a risk I'm willing to take. People like this need to be removed from Congress. People like this should not be representing millions of people, especially when they are so callous for genuine concerns from their own constituents. And over the weekend, as I was researching this story, a guy named Mathin popped up. He's actually going to be challenging Joni Ernst for her senator seat. And I haven't looked through this guy's platform, but I will play you this ad really quick just to let everybody know that there are options out there, and we do and should aspire to kick people like Joni Ernst out of the Senate. That should be Iowans' number one priority. These people clearly do not care about you. Okay? So here's Mathin Sage's ad that I wanted to show you guys.
Out of Iowa, a surprise challenger, Democrat Mathin Sage. Marine, Army vet, mechanic, sports radio host. Taking on scandal-ridden, corporate-funded Joni Ernst.
I never thought someone like me could run for Senate. When I was 5, my dad got arrested for a bounce check. $50. He was trying to pay for new school clothes for my sister and I. We grew up poor, but I still believed in this country. So I enlisted again and again. 8 years. We were attacked by mortars and rockets more times than I can count. By the grace of God, I made it home. Now I'm the executive director of the Knoxville Chamber of Commerce, one of the many places that's being abandoned, hurt by corporations, billionaires, and the politicians they own. There's a war at home, and we're losing. Unions under attack. Farmers f***ed over. People working nonstop just to survive. Too busy to enjoy life. People like my dad are spending their life slaving away in factories, only to die of cancer caused by those same corporations. The economy is rigged, and those in power don't give a damn. They're the ones doing it. Only 2% of Congress come from the working class. We built the damn table, it's time we had a seat at it. I'm fighting for a Democratic Party that people like me will actually want to be a part of. People like my dad, myself, my kids, all the people like us. The DC elites, the ruling class, they don't want me, but I think maybe you will. I'm Mathin Sage, dad, mechanic, sports radio host, vet, child of a trailer park in Iowa. And I'm gonna kick corporate Republican Joni Ernst's ass next November.
So like I said, I have not gone through Mathin Sage's platform, but there are options out there if you guys live in Iowa. He seems to have a better lay of the land as to what is actually going on out there. He seems to understand that there are communities in our country that are being left behind. There are people who rely on things like Medicaid and other safety nets to get by in life. And he seems like the kind of guy who is going to try to protect those systems. On the other hand, you've got somebody like Joni Ernst who says, yeah, we all die. Not a big deal. We are kicking millions of people off their Medicaid, but no big deal, guys. So, like I said, I haven't gone through his platform. I think he seems to have a better understanding of what is going on in middle America right now for your everyday American. He seems to set up that dichotomy correctly. I do think Republicans are the party of the elites, even though that image has kind of been spun around to kind of say the opposite right now, because Democrats do indeed have a branding problem. I like that he is a working class guy. I like that he has a pretty good understanding of being a working class family, somebody who served in the military. All of these things seem really good. They seem a little bit better than what Joni Ernst has got going on. And he seems like a guy who might actually stand up and care for what his constituents are actually genuinely concerned about. He seems like the kind of guy who would stand up for Medicaid. And on the other hand, you got Joni Ernst, who is doing anything but that, and then just callously and flippantly making fun of her constituents who have genuine concerns that they might lose a system that they rely on. So there are options out there, guys. We will continue to keep an eye on it. And We just got to vote these people out. Every single Republican who has not only enabled Donald Trump to, enact this authoritarian takeover, not only do they need to be voted out for that reason, but when you take a look at this kind of shit from Joni Ernst, basically making fun of her own constituents, that is just unacceptable for somebody who is serving in our government. She is supposed to be your representative. She is supposed to be representing your wants, your needs, your desires. And instead, she's making fun of you. Because these cuts to Medicaid aren't going to affect her. She's got her gold standard health insurance that she gets by being in the Senate. I mean, these people are just disgusting. Every single Republican needs to be voted out of office. Because not only do they not know how to govern, not only have they let Donald Trump enact this authoritarian takeover, but they just do not care about your average American. And Democrats, on the other hand, know how to govern and are fighting for these programs who help average or everyday Americans. So, just something to think about, guys. I will leave it there for now. If you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share it with a friend or two. I very much appreciate that. We are trying to build something here on the left that adequately pushes back against the right-wing media ecosystem that just kind of launders shit for the MAGA movement every single day. So if you do like what I do here, please do remember to smash that subscribe button. It is free. And if you guys want to see how Bill Burr is, going after Trump and the MAGA movement for their just blatant and disgusting cruelty, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. He's got a lot of good words to say. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.